Good morning, or now it's afternoon. It's 12:01. Hi, Mike. Been like a hot minute since I spoke to you. I haven't been on Discord in a while, actually. Um, but hey, Billy. I have to stop squinting at the screen. So this was all set up and ready to go yesterday. There were a few cracks. Um, you can't see what I'm looking at. We got audio and we have picture. It's going to be a good day. Let's hope. Let's hope. Um, but let me switch to the other camera so you can see what I'm referring to. Okay, so well, the problem is that my glasses are for up close, not for distance. But this light in my way, I think that's what does it for me. Because my glasses are not for the reading glasses, they're not for distance. I just have the habit of squinting when I'm trying to read far away. I don't know. It's a mental issue. All right, let's take my rings off. Um, anyway, I had put zoom out a bit. Okay. Which the top one? All right, let's let the thing catch up to what I just did. Okay, let's go this way. Go this way slightly. All right. I don't know why. Okay. Let's go up a little higher. And what is this down here? Now, why is this like this? This is not supposed to be. That's my thing here. That's why. All right. Is that? Come on. There. And that's the whole thing now. Right? Okay. Because that's as big as it is. And I have this at this end. You'll be able to see this on the side when I get to that point. Okie doke. I shall get started. Hey, Mike. I meant to clean off my shield here. Too much stuff on it. All right, let's go. Hey, Amy. So what this, that was a good live, Amy. That pen is gorgeous. So this, I went over this with glue and sawdust because again, I had a lot of cracks. This is the other half of the log that I did last week. And, but this time, so last week I did this. From the other half. See, that was this way. And this was the bark part out here. And now I'm doing it with this part being the base and the top part being the live edge. So this is a piece of wood from friends of mine who the tree was cut down in front of the house they grew up in, and they got some of the wood for me. I actually did start doing pens, Mike. I just haven't edited the videos yet. I have a really cool idea for a pen I'm going to be doing, but it's going to be a gift, and I don't want to do it too soon before I'm going to be giving it as a gift. I hate this part. I hate trying to get it to round. And this is my really good one. It's just so jumpy in the beginning. All right, I'm going to try. Amy, my pens are not as good as yours because I honestly don't have the patience to sand like you do. I'm terrible when it comes to sanding. But I have a really cool idea to make them personalized, and it's going to be a personalized pen. And I'll be giving the pen away in probably about 2 weeks. Isn't that razor thing cool, Mike? Really came out pretty, Amy. Really pretty. And I love the wood you chose for it with the contrast of the black razor. Really pretty. So in the top video, you can see how much of a shadow there is still. I have a lot of ghosts at the top there. And when it's completely round, there won't be any see-through part. The olive wood is incredible. How big, does anybody know how much olive wood, like how big of a piece of olive wood I could get? Like, is there a lumber yard that sells olive wood? Does anybody know of one? And no sense asking you, Mike, because you're all the way in Scotland, so Mike Wilson. So you're not going to know anything local. Okay, now, if you look, you see how here it looks solid? Well, maybe I need to go a little further. Yeah, I'm thinking I would like to do a cross in olive wood or a chalice in olive wood and donate it to my church. I just feel like olive wood is almost biblical, even though I know it's Italy. Hi, Happy. Whoop. So let's see. That was not. So it's almost around. I just have this big eye right here that just chunked out. I keep hitting that. Don't want to keep hitting that. All right, so it's way up here. It's going to go real softly. But I try to get past that chunk that came out. Well, there's, um, I'm trying to think of what woods would be biblical that are able to be wood turned. Now, there's black locust wood that I do believe is mentioned in the Bible. So that would be a nice one to do. And that's got, I have a piece of that here actually, and that's got a super tight grain, which would be perfect for a chalice, because the piece I have is pretty darn big. So I'm thinking, boy, look at that chunk that's out. Ooh, that's going to be a pain in the neck. All right, so we're going to try to get rid of that. Okay, not that way. I think I have this too low. I think it's too low. This is a nerve-wracking thing because this is a gift for a neighbor from a tree that's been cut down, and the tree meant a lot to them. And I can't get any more of the wood, so I really got to make sure this works. So I think this is probably going to end up being a fairly shallow bowl with these chunks out. And that's too much. I mean, I'm going to end up keeping, no, I got to do from here over. Oh, I have an idea. Let's see, is that where that chunk is? All right. Sorry, I'm not talking, guys, but with this hole in there, I got to pay attention. I don't want to get it cut. All right. Oh, get out of here, Mike. Thank you so much. That's amazing. Thank you. Mike, that was really sweet of you. Thank you. That's not going to work. Let's stick with what was working. Yeah, the Fairfield is not too far. That's excellent. Thank you. I love olive wood. It's so pretty. Ay, 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 ay. Okay. Almost past this knot. So what I want to do, figure I'm going to do a little bit of a pedestal, go in where this knot is, make it thinner, and then be a shallow bowl. But this base is too big, so. Perfect, Mike. Thank you. I have my phone on silent for now while the. All right, so I am almost past this. Just want to clean up this. is way too big. This is still too big. No, boards and beams is actually probably closer to me than Roxbury, so that's amazing. That's fantastic. Thank you so much. All right, so can everybody see what shape I'm going for now, since I'm trying to work around these knots? This obviously is still, the base is too big for the top part, and I still have to fix up this top. So let's get that size done. Thank you, Happy. I hope so. So, like I was saying, I've told this story so many times. People who have been on here a few times are probably sick of it. But one of my neighbors grew up in a house not far from here, and their daughter ended up buying the house. And they had to have the tree out front cut down. And the neighbor had said he felt badly because he used to climb in that tree as a child. And so the wife, very smartly, went to the tree service and said, "Can you leave me a few pieces of this tree?" And then she asked me, could I please make a bowl for her husband and one for her daughter who now lives in the house out of the wood. So I don't really have an option to screw it up because the tree's gone. So I've had it sitting here for almost a year, trying to dry out. A little bit more. A little bit more to shape the top part, and then I can size the bottom part correctly. Probably going to have to fill some of these holes in. But now at least it's close enough to round that I can turn it up. So I have to show you guys in a little bit. I was trying to do something way below. Yeah, I wish. Way above my pay grade. I watched another Cindy Droza video. She has a live stream every other Friday. And she's like incredible. So I watched her live stream, and she was doing these boxes with offset tops. Oh, this is killing me. Wish I had gloves on. Woo! It's really sharp, heavy wood. All right, a little bit more right there. in there. All right. Ah. So when you're doing live edge like this, when you get towards the top, you want to go from the top down, because if you try to go from the bottom upward, you'll knock the bark off, which you could easily knock off going this direction, but it's not as likely. All right. Oh, gosh. Can you see how red my hand is? Wow. Oh, I'm still not to the edge. Jeez. Still got to go a little more. That's why I wanted to get this side done so I know how small I need to make that to make it the right dimensions. I just lost a piece of bark. All right, so we're going to do a little bit of a terrain shape. What do you think? Oh my goodness, this is ridiculous. Guess we're not doing the terrain shape. Yeah, I still have a flat section right here, so I still have to work on that. But if you look, you can see the shape of it on the horizon. So when I'm turning, I'm not looking so much where my chisel is. I'm looking here on my horizon so I can see what needs to be removed. Let's hope I got to the bottom of this. Gosh, this is like the never ending. I need to work with some green wood. I am really getting tired of this really sharp hard wood. So this is where you let the wood decide the shape, because originally I had wanted to just do a bowl, just a normal hole. And now I'm having to cut around the imperfections in the wood and the knots and the cracks. So that's how the wood actually determines the shape. And you have to keep changing your vision, because sometimes what you have in your head that you want to do is not going to work. All right, I think that's it. I got it rounded here. Ugh. Okay, now we got to make this smaller, because this is way too big. I need a new chisel because that was not sharp at all anymore. Sorry, again, there's a crack here, so I have to really pay attention. I don't want it to catch me off guard. You hear that crack? It's catching everything. All right, but kind of happy with the shape. I don't think this has to be too much smaller. Let's go a little closer. A little low. I want to try to leave the tailstock on as long as I can. Wow, that's a big crack. All right, so you got a little cut there, but that's okay. It's just a little hole. So if you're queasy, stay, close your eyes. I'm going to switch you to the other side. Okay, Mike. Thank you so much for making that phone call. I truly appreciate it. Thank you. I'll let you know how I make out, and I'll make you a cross as well. Okay, this is way too low. Maybe that's half my problem. Too high. There we go. So there's little holes in here. If you look closely, you can see the little holes. I had originally thought to do this bowl the same way as I did the other and cut all the bark off. And then I was like, you know what? Let me do it the opposite. So I had the faceplate drilled into here, but I'm going to do a recess uh, instead of a tenon. I'm going to do a recess, and so I'll be drilling all the turning all those holes away anyway. Boy, this wood is so nice and soft when you get to the inside. Now I'm looking forward to doing the inside of the bowl. It's good to have people from your hometown when you still live fairly close to home. All right, so let's see how big I need this to be. I always like to do a recess instead of a chuck anyway, because I don't know why people want to do a tenon. I'm sorry, a tenon, not a chuck. I don't know why people want to do a tenon, but then has to be turned away after you finish the rest. Like, that just seems like double the work. I don't know. I mean, I'm sure there's a reason for it, but I think if you have enough on the wood on the outside, the recess is stronger than a tenon. As long as you have enough wood out here, it's fine. And you never have to worry about the weevil having the base be, you have to have it concave always. And this way you don't have to worry about that. So let's see now. My little handy dandy tool. So you've seen me before, you've seen this. I have just a regular old chisel that I cut the groove out that fits perfectly in a chuck. And this way I can check to make sure I have enough depth and enough angle for it to fit nicely in a chuck. And I do still have a few little dots there, but I'll fill them in with sawdust and glue after. So let's do, do we have the shape right yet? I can always reshape it when it's turned around. Now, you know what? Let's do a little bit more shaping and then I'll sand. What's happening? I don't like this. This needs to be softened. Thank you, Ray. Thank you, Amy. See? Jeez. That's the catch. All right, well, that's not too bad. But I do think not wobbly all of a sudden. All right, so let's just smooth this out. And I'm going to cut my losses. Be well, Johnny. All right. I don't know why it's so off now. That's like crazy. So I'm going to wait to do that part after it's turned around and I know it's centered. So let's do a little sanding here. Just going to do a little. And like I always do, sand always lay it away. Thank you, Johnny. Oh, I know how I'm going to get rid of those lines. I'm not going to bother doing the glue. Really just sanding the bottom part. Right, let's do this. That's pretty smooth. Let's just do this real quick. I forgot. A little decoration. And I can get rid of those screw holes. There we go. Nobody will ever know they were there. A little bit of sanding. Oh well, I lied. People will know they're there. I'll fill them in with glue and sawdust later. All right, now let's see if we can get this off. And yes, I did use a faceplate because this thing weighs 15 pounds. So I was not about, with my history of things flying off the lathe. Okay. Oh, I just got all nervous. I saw this hole and I was like, oh no, it's not going to fit. Yeah. Please tell me this does fit. You know what? I do. You know what? I measured for the inside and not for the outside. Ay, ay, ay. Yep, I screwed up. So let's see though if we can not put the faceplate. Guess what? We're putting the faceplate back on. I just don't feel confident. Ay, 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 ay. Okay, sorry guys. I am so sorry. I get lost in my own thoughts here. Okay. All righty. Let's try this again. God, I was doing yard work all day yesterday, and I feel like I can't even like lean down. I was doing weeding, so it was like 40,000 squats basically. All right, that's a pretty bottom. I can tell you it fits. There we go. All right, let's hollow this out a little, and then I'll worry about the outside shaping. And again, I get paranoid. Sorry, I have to. I love the live edge too. I get terrified when it's so heavy. The last time something that big went flying off the lathe, it took out two of the cameras. So, hi, Tina. Ooh. Oh my goodness, this cracked right in half. Holy cow. That's garbage. Wow. Wow, I can't believe that. Maybe that's what happened before. It wasn't a catch. It was that the stupid chisel just cracked. The handle cracked. Ah, I just lost a big piece of bark. Let's just see. All right, it was not something I needed. All right. Now this one you don't need anymore, right? So let's see. Let's go here. So I guess I'll be ordering new chisels, huh? New carbide. Jeez. Ah. All right, so I got to get it down a little further so that it's even. It's got little. Ooh, well, that's not good. All right. I really have struggled so much with the chisel. I think I'm up too high. I mean, it does remove so much more wood, so much more quickly, but I don't know if it's a strength thing. I'm not sure what. And there is something wrong with this tool rest. I'm just trying to get this low enough, and then I have feel the confidence to take this center part out. All right, we're getting there. So that's pretty much as wide as it's going to be. Not going to take too much more off this part. Thank you, Not. Amazing Amy. That's a cute name for her. All right, I think I'm gonna have to move this center. Yeah, I'm gonna have to move this out because I don't want to go too much deeper there. I have to start angling inward. So let's get rid of this and then keep our fingers crossed that nothing goes flying. I have a lot of cracks. Um, uh, Pretty much the final shape. Pretty much. I may end up changing slightly on the outside. There were just not, you weren't here before, but there were a lot of hole gaps and cracks and knots in the wood. So it was kind of like, it just kept changing shape. Hi, Dana. So very soon I'm going to have to go over with the glue and the sawdust to make sure everything is secure enough for me to make the walls thin enough. Now, since I have such a big base, I can make the center a little bit deeper. I should just drill the hole so I have a guide hole, but it's almost bedtime for some, right, Benner? It's afternoon here. It's 1:25 here. getting a bit nervy. I got to pay attention to what I'm doing. All right, let's see. Move this in some. See, so now I really don't want to go any further out to the side. I just want to go angled inward because this is not that much more. What's the weather like everywhere? People are wherever you are. It's a gorgeous, gorgeous day here today. Literally like the perfect day. All right, so let's just see. We got to get rid of all this debris. So I can go a little deeper still. Okay. Go about another half inch. I want to establish my depth here on the side, and then I can go deeper in the center because I know I have the pedestal. The only place that I have to really worry is on the side here. So it's best to just establish that. Hopefully that doesn't mean I'm hitting cracks. So it's 91 degrees. Oh no, it is so much nicer here right at the moment. And I'll be honest, I was down in South Carolina. It was warmer, hotter here in New Jersey than it was in South Carolina when I was down there. So I'm grateful that the heat broke here. It's like 85 here and sunny. You can see the ridge there. I'm establishing my, well, I don't know if you can see it. I'm establishing my depth on the side so that I'm sure I don't go too deep there, because then in the center I can just angle down. Problem is you can't even measure because the sides are so uneven. You know, down in Myrtle Beach, they're having a drought as well. And you have rain now or no? Oh, you've gotten some rain. Because, boy, down in Myrtle Beach, I literally thought the one pond that has a fountain, I thought they had drained it for some kind of repair. Turned out it was just because of the drought. It was that low. Like they had turned the fountain off, and I was like, oh, they must be doing some kind of repair. And then somebody said, no, it's because there's no rain. I was like, holy cow. All right, that is pretty darn close. I don't think I want to go too much further with that. Just because there's so many cracks. I mean, if I was trying to be a better wood turner, I would make it very thin walls, but the number of cracks in this wood. Okay, let's start getting this down. Okay. So right now we have a flat bottom girl. We don't want that. We want to get this. That is about as good as I'm going to get as far as the depth goes. I don't feel comfortable doing any more. No, I just got to get the center down. And then we're going to go and clean up the outside. All right, let's check this. Still too flat, but I think I'm going to switch to my round carbide for a few minutes. Try to get these sides cleaned up a little. I want my transition from the wall to the bottom to be a little smoother. So I find that when I'm using it correctly, not like at the moment, but when I'm using it correctly, the round carbide gives me a little smoother of a transition, obviously, than a square one would. Common sense would tell you that. What the heck is this over here? I'm hitting something. Let's just check this. All right. Yeah, still a little bit more to go. But I'm getting there. See, my transition now is much better here on the side. My sides are pretty much done. So I just have to really even this out in the bottom. Now another thing too, which I'm not very patient, but the slower you move and the faster the speed, the smoother the finish is. I mean, I'm not going very fast right now. I'm only at 700 RPM. So right there feels right. I just have to smooth this out. So let's go a little closer and just get this out. I'm going to go faster. Let's go up to 1100 RPM. Now I'm kind of doing a skimming cut. Not really putting a lot of pressure on. I'm just kind of trying to smooth it out. Go super slow. And I screwed it up there. And don't do that. All right. Now let's just go over this real quick with this scraper. And I always have my scrapers done in negative rake. All right, I'm liking it. Thank you, Happy. All right, now let's just see what we want to do on the outside here. If we want to do, ow, jeez Louise. Didn't need to get my boob cut off. I think that, I have to clean this bottom part up some. But I think that this has too much of a ridge right here. I'm thinking I don't like that much of a ridge. So let me move this here, sorry. Move this back here. Oh, well, there you go. Too much sawdust for it to sit level. So this part here has too much of a ridge. So let's get rid of that a little bit. I got to do this part here. This just looks like a really sharp chin to me. It just doesn't look right. Oh, I like that better. It's not quite as pronounced. And let's just get this part here. Okay. I'm not going to play with this too much more. There's too many cracks. So what I'm going to do is go over these cracks. Oh, I can take my helmet off finally. Woo! I have so much sawdust on here, I can't find my scraper. Ay, ay, ay. Where the heck is my scraper be? Okay, well, guess what? I'm going to use my fingers. Because I can't find my scraper anywhere. So, thank you, Amy. Thank you again, Happy. Let's get this glue to sink in. So now what you do, I had to do this with the last one last week as well. This is from the same piece of wood, so it makes sense that it would be the same issue. So when you have cracks like this, you don't want to just fill them with glue because first off, then the glue shows. And secondly, the glue is just not as strong as it would be. Oh yeah, I found my scraper. It's not as strong as it would be if it was glue mixed with sawdust. So the glue mixed with sawdust is really like the strongest thing you can put on here, and it'll stop the cracks from continuing. Okay, so now, and it's the same kind, it's the same color as the wood. So it really camouflages the cracks. And this is just Type On 3. It's just wood glue. I don't, for this kind of stuff, I don't use the CA glue or anything. I just use the Type On 3. And this way It seeps down pretty quickly. And especially once I'm to this point where I'm finished turning for the most part and I'm going to maybe just scrape the glue off. I don't need it to be all the way through. I do need it to be on the inside though, that's for sure. Okay, so let's see. We're going to go all over this darn thing just to make sure it's secure. And it will stop the cracking. So it's not like I'm going to fix this and then it's going to crack again. Try not to get that on the bark. I just want this one big crack here. And then go over it with the sawdust from this bowl. And I know it's going to be the exact same color. Yeah, the wood and the sawdust, or the glue and the sawdust, are so strong, and it fills the gap, so there's no more strain on the wood. So I don't have to do every one of these little cracks, but I want to do the big ones to make sure that this bowl is not going to continue cracking. So yeah, it's pretty cheap wood glue. I mean, it's and honestly, I mean, when you do the CA glue, that stuff gets pretty expensive at a certain point. The type on 3M, I think I buy like a gallon of it every year. That's pretty much it. Doesn't really, you don't go through it as fast as you do the CA glue. And it takes a few minutes to dry, so then that way you have a few minutes to work with it. And actually, and so what I do also, I put my type on glue in what do you call it? A ketchup container or a mustard container that I just picked up at the dollar store. And then this way, I mean, I've screwed this up so bad and used it so many times that now the top is not working. But this way you can use keep just a small amount on hand and leave the rest of it in the gallon size jug, and it'll stay longer. All right, so let's go over this a little bit with sandpaper, just so that you can see where I did the cracks. And honestly, this sawdust that I'm creating now will also, if there's any wet glue, it will adhere to that as well. So, I mean, it's the easiest way around any of these issues. Works like a charm. All right, so let's see. Look at that. You can barely see those cracks now. I mean, you can barely see them. There's a few right there. I should probably fill that in, but actually, I'm going to do this with my sanding disc just because it's so uneven. I don't want to be holding my hand right next to it like that. Chop my fingers off. I don't know what's happening. Ooh, I just got something splattered on me. Oh, is that wet glue? I prefer to sand holding the sandpaper, but when there's such a rough, very like random edge, I don't want to be holding my hand next to that. All right, let's see how that's looking. Oh boy, I uncovered some more, but this side looks great. So let's see. That's what we're gonna do. So I will be going over this with one thin coat of polyacrylic. So actually there's a little bit of a crack right here. I'm going to just leave that because the polyacrylic will fill it in. But with the live edge bark, I want to be able, I have to protect that. So I can't just use wax or something. I have to go over it with the polyacrylic. I mean, I guess I can, but I feel like I need to put something to protect the bark. Look at that. Doesn't that look good? Thank you for coming, Tina. Thank you. Yeah, I happen to have type on 2 or type on 3. It just happened to be that what I happen to have here is the type on 3. But use one of those ketchup containers to keep out just enough for you to use. And that way you're not exposing the whole gallon of it to the air. This is like the furriest wood I've ever had. Oh, there's even a piece of moss still on here. That's so cool. So what I'll probably end up doing, just to get a really smooth finish, I will go over this with polyacrylic and then give it another sanding of like 400 sandpaper. And not sure if I'll go over it again. But in a minute, I'm not going to do the polyacrylic yet, but what I will do is I will spray with sanding sealer, and you'll get to see the colors. Ooh, geez, I'll be knocking the bark off. And so rammy, I don't like sanding. I don't have a lot of patience. That's the reason I go over everything with the negative rate scraper and everything is I really do not like sanding. So All right, I think that's about it for this. Let me just get this part here. Oh, okay. Sorry, I know sanding's the most boring part. This is the part that always gets sped up in my videos. Okay. All right, I'm going to have to do another sanding after the polyacrylic anyway. So I'm just going to spray. Actually, let me do the polyacrylic, right? Might as well. No sense having you watch all this time and then not get the payoff. So that's the best part of it. All right, so we ready? Let me put a piece of cardboard down. I have all my sawdust and glue all over my hands. I'll be peeling that off for the next 4 hours. All right, now comes the fun part. Now this will dry in about an hour, and then I can, in about an hour, I can then sand it down. A nice 400 400 grit sanding. All right, there's a little bit of glue left there, so then I know where to sand with that. Thank you, Ray. So you got to make sure you get in all the nooks and crannies of the bark here. Thanks, guys. I hope my neighbor likes it. I hope it's, maybe I'll film. Maybe I'll film the surprise of me giving it to the her husband and daughter. Maybe I'll film it just so that it's a total payoff from between the creation to delivering the gift. And there's even some moss left on here. That's so cool. I love when that happens. There's some green moss on there on the bark. So cool. So I have the feeling the daughter is the one who's going to take this. But in a second, I'll take I'll bring the other bowl over and show them to you side by side. So obviously this polyacrylic will turn clear. Let's see. That's a pretty deep bottom there. I probably could have gone much further. So this is the two bowls from the same log. All right, how do I do this? This needs to be a little deeper. I may end up putting it back on the chuck and doing a little bit deeper, just because I tend to get too nervous when I'm getting too deep, and I don't want to get a funnel. Yeah. So hopefully you can see. Okay, both of them. Okay, why are both cameras going to the same thing? Trying to get both bowls here next to each other. Thank you, Ray. Thank you. So, yeah, here we go. Now I finally got a picture of the two of them together. So these are from the same section of log, and one's turned with the live edge and one's turned with the live edge turned off. So this, I think, is probably going to go back on the lathe and go a little deeper in the center, because I feel like that's a really thick bottom. But the sides are fine. It's just this center part is a little too thick. But anywho. Thank you, Jody. Um, so anyway, that's it. Thank goodness it worked. Those my two largest pieces of wood to work on are now behind me. I always get a little nervous, but I kind of like the shape of this. It looks almost like a tureen, like a soup tureen. And the live edge never disappoints. Live edge always looks cool. This needs to have some more sanding done, and I'll go a little deeper on the bottom. But gonna let the polyacrylic dry. I'll take care of those things, sand it one more time, and was able to fix all the cracks. Everything is good. Thank you so much for coming. Thank you, Amy, for speeding yours up so that so that I had time to do mine. I am sorry that I didn't do it yesterday. Hopefully next Wednesday there's no septic tank issues to deal with. But at the moment, I'm going to do some cleanup. So thank you all so much for coming, and I shall see you next week. Thank you, Ray.